Hi, this is Bill Koenig for Straight Circle Martial Arts, and these are 10 reasons your kicks don't work in a fight. Number 10, distance is wrong. A lot of times when people kick, especially if they spar, they're afraid people are going to come in to hit them. A lot of people kick because of that reason. A lot of people don't like to punch, they like to kick because they think they can keep people away. So if he comes at me, I'm trying to keep him way away from me so he can't ever get into me. And when you're point sparring, or no one's really coming at you, you can get away with that. But what you're really teaching to do is hide from the fight. And if that guy's really mad and blows through it, you're going to be in for a real bad surprise. When you kick people, your distance should be close enough to where I can extend through the kick, right? Boom, through the kick. It shouldn't be way away here where I'm just kind of blocking him. So every kick you throw should be close and should also set up your hands. So do yourself a favor, take a half a step in. Usually people are just a little far out and your hitting distance will be better. Number 9, big chambers. Chambers with your legs are not unlike chambers with your arms. They're great for beginners, right? But often unnecessary. Like we learn chambers, so we learn balance. And we learn how to come back and how we walk. The reality is, as you get better, they actually just shorten up. They micro-chamber a little bit. They come up, they're short, and they step, and they're short, and they step. The problem with chambers is, if I pick something way up like this, and then do this, it takes 6 years to get there, and he sees it, and it gives him a chance to evade it instead of me just going bang like that, right? The other problem with chambers is if he picks up real tall like that, his chamber, his leg, boom, I'm just going to destroy him inside. Because we point fight, often we get away with kicking like this because no one's going to punish you down low. But keep that in mind, every time you go like this, you're just asking to get kicked somewhere that's not so nice for you. Number 8, bad feet. A lot of times because we learn forms where we plant, we want to kick off the plant, but it takes a long time. What we do is he comes in, I plant my foot, I stiffen up, and then I kick. I plant my foot and I stiffen up and I kick. Or we just kind of do this kind of frou-frou thing where we just go back and forth and play this kick game too. Neither of those are good. Your kick should be more like a walk, right? So if I throw this kick, he steps to me, boom, right, boom, boom. It should just be a walk. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You have to develop your feet so you can walk with your kicks. They shouldn't just be like a hard chamber, plant the foot, throw that hard kick, and then stay in that position. It's slow, it's time consuming. You may have some power on it, but the downside is it takes a long time. Number 7, spin kicks. Yes, they're powerful. Yes, I've seen knockouts with them, but in real fights, they're an unnecessary danger. They're something you use in an emergency when you get pinned. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen where this guy comes in, he goes to do that turn and that spin kick, and that guy just flat out tackles him. So if I'm like this, I make a stupid move, I go like this, and boom, he's on me and I'm down. It's a dangerous thing to be caught on one leg. So save those for your tournaments. Please don't use those out in the real world. Number 6, high kicks. Same thing. High kicks work. I've seen a number of knockouts with high kicks. But again, unnecessary risk. Why? Anytime you go to one foot, there's a good chance you're going to get knocked down. I've worked with guys who are great kickers, and I just run at them and try and tackle them and see if they knock them down. And a lot of times you do. You got to be careful when you come up on one foot, anytime. The other thing that's bad with this is if I come up high on one foot and I throw a higher type kick and I lean, I have to reset, come back down, and reestablish myself to hit. It goes back to what I was saying before. If you throw lower kicks, it allows me to walk and continue my work, right? Boom, 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 boom. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not one kick, stop, reset, kick. So again, yes, they work potentially. Yes, there's a lot of power on them, but you can do so much more if you kick low. Thank you. Number 5, 2 tense. Again, if you throw your leg and you tense it, you are only going to get so much extension out of it. Even if you fight through that tension, you blow through the tension. I mean, it looks good, it looks strong, and you feel good, but there's nothing on it. The reality is, when you hit somebody, like, your kick should be like your hands, right? My hands, they pop, boom, right? My foot should be like a pop. See, it's like this, right? Like a pop. Obviously, you step into it and give it a little more, but there should be that whip on it. It shouldn't be like a, so try and relax the legs a little more. Be careful with that. Like, I don't want you to loosen up so much that you actually hyperextend your knee. Make sure you throw these pops, you leave a little bend in it so you don't pop your knee out. But loosen up, see what you can do. Number 4, competition kicks. What I mean by competition kicks is we're kicking places which don't injure people. So when we do tournaments, right, what do? Most people are only allowed to kick here to here, maybe the head. And even with the head, a lot of times it's light kick, it's not a real hard kick. So, we kick places that maybe knock people down or hurt them a little bit. And sometimes when you see like even more full contact, what do? They extend these kicks, which hurt a lot. But I've seen people take 4, 5, 6 of those and keep going. You're in a real fight. Do I really want that to go on that long? You don't want to go to those targets. If you're in a real fight, right, I want to go to a target that right away convinces him he needs to stop. In the groin, in the hips, right in there, right? Maybe in the knees a little bit. Ankles are real bad if you go into the ankles. Any of this stuff is not so good. I come inside on the leg, right there. Anything that breaks his structure, anything where I can kind of destroy him, break things. Those are not competition kicks. Those are self-defense kicks. But if you only practice competition kicks, if you're ever attacked, what do you think you're going to do? So make sure in your work you start adding in more legitimate kicks for self-defense. Number 3, not pivoting the foot. We all know how to pivot, I would hope, right? Pivot for the roundhouse, right? You pivot for the side kick. I can't tell you under stress how many people don't do it. Like, they panic and they throw and they don't pivot and they're going to hurt their knees. The other thing that they don't do is they practice those pivots inside on a mat in bare feet. It's harder in the real world, right? You're wearing boots, you're wearing shoes, you're on carpet, you're on grass, you're on gravel. You need to go outside and practice those pivots in real environments with real footwear. It's like I have a kid that does football, right? I teach him footwork and I tell him the same thing. Don't just practice in here, go practice in your cleats, because it's going to be different when you go out in the real world. So go out and practice in the real world and make sure your pivots are correct and you're not getting stuck and hurting yourself. Number 2, thinking only one attacker. Again, when most people spar with their feet, number 1 is they're just trying to keep people away or keep them back. And they're thinking like dueling, like we have a sword. We're going back and forth like Zorro. So he comes to me and I kick him. And he runs away and I kick him. And he runs back to me and I kick him. And we do this. Well, that's great until there's more than one. You have to develop footwork to where if I kick him, I can turn to go to someone else and kick them. And step and kick him and then move to kick him. Like, you have to learn how to not just move linear. Your kick should learn to spin, right? Pivot, kick, come to different directions and change all the time. If you're just going like this, if you're facing more than one, you think you're going to be in for a surprise. Number 1, forcing it. It's not always the right time to kick. Right? A lot of guys, like, they kick because they want to keep people away. But sometimes it's just not there. Right? Sometimes your kicks feed your hands. But sometimes your hands feed your kicks. You have to know when they're appropriate. They're a tool. They're not the end all. So if you're a kicking style that does so much kicking you don't use hands, you're at a real disadvantage. You need to know both. And they need to be equal so that you can go from one to back and forth and back and forth. Don't just hang on one thing. It limits you as a person. This has been Bill Koenig for Straight Circle Martial Arts. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.